If you find yourself facing an incredibly busy month or week or just a very short-term season of your life and you are wondering how in the world you are going to get dinner together for yourself and your family, then this is the video for you. I'm going to prep an entire week's worth of meals, and I'm going to do this in a completely different way than I have ever done before, that is going to give us some variety but also make dinner time really easy on an especially busy week. So here is what is going on. Here's the situation, if you will. My children primarily each do two things. They have two activities, plus they have church and family obligations and, you know, the occasional social occasions like birthday parties and things like that that pop into our schedule. And most of the time, this is manageable. It's busy, but it's manageable. But we find ourselves in a particular short time frame where every single one of those activities is happening. We are in the middle of baseball season. We are coming to the end of lacrosse season. We are at the beginning of spring basketball season, and we also just kicked off a long course swim season for two of my kiddos. Plus, we have all that end of the year stuff that comes up at the end of the school year. You know, you have concerts and you have end of year programs. Maybe you have graduations that you are going to with your family. So I really needed to do a meal prep for dinner time this week because we are just coming and going all throughout the evening to various and sundry activities. So people need to be able to put meals together themselves, and we also need to be able to eat in shifts because people might be eating at different times. So the meal prep I am doing today is not like anything I've ever done before. I am not prepping complete meals. I'm going to prep a bunch of yummy stuff that we can use to make lots of different meals and dinners and maybe even some lunches for ourselves throughout the week. I will also probably be prepping a little bit of Green Chef for my husband and myself, and they are sponsoring today's video, so we'll get into that later. But for now, let's go ahead and get started on the meal prep so that I can get this off my plate and jump into my week and make things a lot easier for myself and my family. I am prepping some fruits and vegetables for the week. I already washed up some grapes and some berries and put those into containers so that they are ready to consume. They probably will not last more than a few days. My kids really go through the fruit. I also washed up some lettuce and it's drying, and when it's done drying, I'll put it in my little lettuce container so that we have that for quick salads if you want to make salads. And then I'm just chopping up some bell peppers that I already had in my crisper. I'm not going to cook these up right now. My kids actually really like raw bell peppers. They like to snack on them, or they'll put some on their plate as like their veggie side, but I can always saute them in a little olive oil maybe later on in the week if I want them to go along with a dinner that I'm making later. But for now, I'm just chopping them up and I'm putting them in this little container here, and I'll pop the lid on there, and then we'll have those for a vegetable side or for snacking or to put in salads or wraps or to saute. Easy peasy. I'm going to be prepping a few different protein options. So this morning I actually already got started on some chicken breast. I got out one of my crock pots and I threw in just a 3-pound bag of chicken breast, and I just seasoned that with a little bit of Lawry's seasoning salt and some everything but the bagel seasoning. I have that going on high. I'll probably bump it down to low for the last few hours, and I'm just going to cook it until it's nice and tender and I can shred it up so that we can use that in a variety of ways across the week. In addition to the shredded chicken that I'm making as a protein for this week, I also am gonna make up some taco meat. I have some ground beef. This is just 2 pounds of 85-15 ground beef that I have that I'm browning up here. And then I'm going to season this with some of my homemade taco seasoning. This is one of those recipes I keep on the inside of my spice cabinet. You guys have seen them there before, taped up. And I'm gonna use probably about 3 to 4 tablespoons since I'm making up 2 pounds of meat. And then I add that in after I have browned the meat. And I add just a little bit of water as well, because I always put a little bit of cornstarch in my taco seasoning because I feel like it gives it that kind of sauciness that like a packet of taco seasoning would create. I don't know, to me that's what helps it mimic the packet seasoning. So I'm just gonna make that up, and that's it. We'll have that as a protein option this week as well. I am delighted to be working again with Green Chef to bring you today's video. Green Chef is a CCOF certified organic company with options for every lifestyle like keto, paleo, Mediterranean, gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian. They even have a fast and fit option now, which are meals that come together in a quicker time than even their standard ones. We've had the opportunity to try a few of those in our last few boxes, and those have become a quick favorite. I also really like the vegetarian meals whenever I'm looking for something fast, because I feel like those come together quickly as well. My husband and I have actually had the opportunity to try almost every single box that they offer, and there has been something delicious in every box. One of the things that we have liked about Green Chef is that it has kind of expanded our palates. It's really easy whenever I'm trying to cook for a family to just have pasta 1,000 ways or chicken again. And whenever we receive a Green Chef box, a lot of times they're coming with recipes that I might not otherwise have tried. So my husband and I have been able to have some really fantastic restaurant quality meals because Green Chef employs expert chefs that curate every recipe. And also Green Chef has been really great for us on those super busy weeks whenever we want to treat ourselves to delicious meals, because the ingredients for the recipes come pre-measured, pre-portioned, mostly prepped. They also send you the sauces, the spices, the seasonings that you need, which I enjoy because whenever I'm trying a new recipe, sometimes I don't want to invest in a big old bottle of some specialty ingredient. Green Chef just sends exactly what you need for that recipe, so you don't have a lot of extra ingredients hanging around in your kitchen. Green Chef does have a deal for my viewers today. When you follow the link in the description box and you use the code Mindy130, you're going to get $130 off plus free shipping on your first box. That's $130 off plus free shipping on your first box when you use the code Mindy130, and you can follow the link in the description box or go to greenchef.com for more details. And I'll also give you this idea. We have actually given Green Chef as a gift. We have paid for a membership or purchased a few boxes for family members. I think it would make a great Mother's Day or Father's Day gift, maybe a wedding gift, to be able to send them some meals that they can make together, especially for the person that already has everything. You know, you have those people that are super hard to buy for because they already have everything. If they are people that enjoy cooking, or they are just looking to try some new things and kind of expand their horizons in the kitchen, then Green Chef could make a really fantastic gift. So thank you again to Green Chef for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to visit that link in the description box or go to greenchef.com and use the code Mindy130. You're going to get $130 off across your first few boxes, plus you're going to get free shipping on that first box. A few weeks back, I made a video where I featured spaghetti, and I talked about all the different ways that you could make spaghetti, how you could change it up, different ways to make sauces, different proteins, different things that you could put the spaghetti sauce on. And one of the things I did in that video was make marinara in the crock pot, and I made the equivalent of 4 24-ounce jars of marinara, and I used one of them that night for dinner, and then I froze the others. So I actually have one of those equivalent to a jar of pasta sauce here, right here, that I pulled out of the freezer, and it's defrosting. And I'm gonna dress this up just a little bit. I'm going to make something that is sort of akin to like a vodka cream sauce, so that we can use that with our pasta dishes or other things we want to make this week. For the vodka sauce, I have 2 tablespoons of butter, probably closer to 3, probably somewhere between 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter in here, with about 1/4 of an onion sauteing. And I did not go overboard on the onion because the marinara sauce that I made a few weeks back has onions and garlic in it, so I didn't want to go too overboard for this sauce. I think normally vodka sauce would be made with tomato paste, but since I have that marinara, I just kind of wanted to try this and see how it works out. I'm letting these saute until they get translucent, and then I'm gonna add a few teaspoons of minced garlic and let those saute with the onions for just about 60 seconds or so. And it wouldn't be called vodka sauce without vodka. This is about 1/4 cup of vodka. And this is one of the things that's so interesting to me. I don't think I've ever cooked with vodka before. I mean, I've cooked with alcohol before, but a lot of the sauce recipes or soup recipes or whatever recipes that I'm using that call for alcohol usually call for wine or occasionally beer. So that would be interesting to try this out. I mean, I've heard of vodka sauce and I've had it in restaurants. I've just never made it myself before. So I'm letting this kind of cook down a little bit. It's simmering along with the onions and butter and garlic. I'm gonna let it do that for about 3 or 4 minutes before I add my tomato sauce. My marinara that I took out of the freezer still had just a few frozen chunks in there, so I had to let that warm up so that it would thaw out here in the pan, but it's all thawed now and stirred together with the onions and the garlic and the butter and the vodka, which I had sauteed together. So what I'm gonna do now is actually pop the lid on this, and I'm gonna keep it on low. And I'm just gonna let it simmer all together for about 5 minutes before I finish that up. I was actually sort of kicking myself that I didn't think about this beforehand because I actually used some pretty decent vodka. I had some Grey Goose in my liquor cabinet, so that was the kind of vodka that I used. But if you're not a person who drinks that regularly and you don't want a bottle of vodka hanging out in your house, but you still wanna try out this recipe, you can just get like some little minis at your liquor store, like the little bitty ones, and then you can get like a less expensive kind and, you know, not have to have like a bottle of liquor hanging out in your house that you don't use or don't want in your house. To finish up my vodka sauce now, I am just going to add to the tomato sauce mixture here about 1 cup of heavy cream. Yes, this is a very rich sauce. I didn't put any sausage or any proteins in this because it's pretty rich on its own. Ooh, yummy. I'm going to keep this on low and I'm going to keep stirring it while it simmers together for another probably 3 to 4 minutes. Just let all those flavors kind of mingle together. I want to stay right here with it because cream has a tendency to make something burn. It'll scorch pretty easily to the bottom of the pan. So I want to stay really close by and keep my heat on low while this is heating through. For starches, I have lots of bread options like tortillas. I think I have some naan in the freezer. I have some sourdough bread for things like sandwiches, wraps, pizza. We also have tortilla chips for nachos. I'm also going to make up some pasta on the stove, and I'm gonna make up some rice in my Instant Pot Aura slow cooker. I love this thing. I'm gonna show you how I do that. It's really easy, but it's just one of the functions that is on that slow cooker, and I get asked about that all the time. I really, really like it. I have 2 cups of this basmati rice in there right now, and I am adding just a little bit of this Auntie Nono's everything seasoning. I really like this stuff. In fact, I'm almost out. It's probably time for me to order a little bit more. You can season it however you like, or you don't have to season it at all. This is just kind of serving as a blank palette for some of the things we're going to be eating this week. And then I'm adding 3.5 cups of water. So it's basically, the way I've made it at least, is the same amount of water and rice that I would use to make it on the stove, except I'm putting it in here. I'm gonna pop the lid on and I'm going to select the rice or multi-grain function, but the manual says when you are making white rice, you would use the low setting, and then it automatically determines how long it's going to cook. If I was making brown rice, you're supposed to use the high setting, but I have not tried that one out yet. But so far I've used it to make basmati rice, jasmine rice, just plain white long grain rice, and it's turned out great every single time. So that's it. It's gonna cook on its own. My rice is done, and look at just how great that turns out. It's just like nice and fluffy. It's not super mushy. It's not sticking to the bottom. It's not burned. Turns out perfect for me every single time. So, confession time. I knew that I wanted to make some jalapeno ranch for this meal prep, since I'm making some things that might make great Tex-Mex style dishes, rice bowls, fajita bowls, quesadillas, things like that. And I thought that I would also make some of my homemade ranch seasoning for you guys. But when I went to the refrigerator, I was out of powdered buttermilk, and you have to have powdered buttermilk to make that ranch seasoning. That's one of the other recipes that's on my spice cabinet, on the inside of my spice cabinet. So I usually keep an emergency packet in either, you know, the Hidden Valley brand, the name brand, or one of the store brands. So fortunately I had one. Sometimes you just gotta do the thing. You gotta give yourself some grace and just do the thing. So that's what I'm gonna use to make jalapeno ranch. Let me show you. I feel like every time I make this, I do it just a little bit differently. Today I'm gonna use a cup of sour cream. I have used plain, unflavored Greek yogurt before in this recipe. And this time I'm gonna add just a little bit of mayo. I'm not a huge mayo fan, but I'm gonna add probably about 2 tablespoons of mayo to my sour cream. I'm gonna use some cilantro. You can leave that out if you don't like it. I'm gonna use 1 jalapeno, and I will go ahead and take the seeds out of that, but I won't worry about chopping it up too much because we're gonna put it in the blender. I'm gonna use the juice from 1 lime and probably a teaspoon or so of minced garlic, and then my packet of ranch dressing mix. I'm gonna put that into my blender, and I usually add just about a tablespoon, 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk at a time until it is the consistency that I want, because the lime juice will add some liquid to it. I don't want it to be too thin, so I usually just add milk a little bit at a time. And that's it. You put it in the refrigerator and it gets better every single day because it all kind of mingles and marinates together, and it creates this really delicious dressing or sauce that's great on salads, but also to go along with tacos or fajitas or over rice bowls, or even just with chips. It's really good. So in addition to what I've shown you, we also have plenty of cheese in the refrigerator that we can shred up and use. And I have some steam in the bag veggies and some canned vegetables in the pantry as well that we can use for vegetable sides if we aren't gonna have salad. So what I have created essentially are the building blocks of meals. And some of these are meals that my kids can even put together themselves because they just need to be put together and then reheated in the microwave. They can make themselves a plate of nachos. They can make themselves a tortilla roll-up. They can reheat pasta. They can make a fajita bowl with the chicken and the rice and cheese and sour cream and whatever else they want on that. So it's going to make it much easier for us to create meals across the week and still have some variety. And I won't have to be here present in the kitchen prepping something or getting something defrosted to put in the oven or getting something in the crock pot and then finishing it up later. It's all just ready to be thrown together into different meals and reheated whenever we're ready to eat. I hope this video gave you some ideas or some inspiration. If you want to see more meal preps like this, be sure to leave me a comment. And also thanks again to Green Chef for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to visit the link in the description box or go to greenchef.com and use the code Mindy130 for $130 off across your first few boxes plus free shipping. See you soon.